Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave in the comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Giving you my preview for the WWE draft. I'm going to give you my predictions of pretty much most of the superstars. I've not gone through every single one, but a lot of the superstars where I think they will end up, of course, including mainly the top stars for Raw and for SmackDown coming out of the draft this week. What am I hoping for from the draft? Just before we go into the big important names, I'm hoping for a balanced roster on both sides. Something that's going to give me interest to watch both shows. Maybe we can have the star power, or what WWE were doing, the star power probably on SmackDown. That's what I'm expecting. A lot of those big names probably for Fox. I'm expecting Raw to get maybe some of those big, great wrestlers that put on great matches, those that can do lengthier matches as well, because they'll have more time to work with a 3-hour show as compared to a 2-hour show. I think we need to see some more depth in the tag team division. Certainly needs a bit of a shake up there. That's most needed, I think, of most of the things we're seeing in WWE right now. As for the women's divisions, it'll be very interesting to see. But I think that certain superstars need to make a move. I think both of those rosters sadly feel a bit stale. I think Becky is lacking a lot of competitors on Raw, and I think that we could mix up on SmackDown as well a little bit. It feels that a lot of the women are not being fully utilised at the minute to the best of their potential. So hopefully, with what I've done here, we will get a better looking roster shape as we come towards it. And of course, there'll be a few jobbers added at the end. As for number one draft pick, it'd be interesting to see first off who will be making the picks, how that's going to happen. Are we going to get maybe like Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff doing it representative, as we know that those faces are meant to be linked with those certain brands? Will we get actually an executive from Fox and an executive from USA Network, perhaps an actor that will play the roles that will do it pretty well? Or will we just get the screen come up as well? Maybe we'll get one-on-one matches and it will determine who is Raw, who is SmackDown. But it feels like WWE and even the fans are so mixed up, we don't remember who is meant to be on which show anymore. So it's going to be very interesting. I expect quite a bit of change. And as for number one draft picks, depending on if it's Raw or SmackDown, I've gone for SmackDown. I think that the major draft picks, probably the first choices, will be Roman Reigns. I think that is probably a given. And I think that Brock Lesnar, ironically, will be one of the major draft picks as he is the WWE champion. As perhaps for the Raw side, I would expect Becky Lynch to be the first call. I think that it'd be cool to have like one of the female wrestlers as the number one draft pick. In general, I think it'd be pretty cool if Raw even got the first go. And I think Seth Rollins will be the second choice as his Universal Champion. So without further ado, I'm going to go through and I'm going to start as we're starting on SmackDown. This is what I think will be the roster for SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown. I may give some explanation for a few of the guys as we go through, but we're going to start off then with the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. We've now had the big angle with Brock. He's won the WWE Championship. Cain, Velasquez as well. I wouldn't be surprised on SmackDown if this match is announced for Crown Jewel, so I think Brock is a good candidate there. As we said, Roman Reigns, the big dog. I don't expect him to go anywhere. I expect him to remain on SmackDown Live. Of course, one of the top draft picks should be Charlotte Flair, SmackDown Women's Champion. And of course, being a Flair, I think it would be cool for her to be on Fox. As of course, I don't expect WWE to break up partnerships. That means Andrade for me will stay on SmackDown Live, which of course keeps him with Zelina Vega as well. So expect those two to be a part of SmackDown Live. We'll still go through some of those heavy hitters, and a big trade I think will be Braun Strowman. I expect him to come to SmackDown Live. His destructiveness I think will be very popular amongst the Fox viewership, and they want those races to be good with Fox. So I think he is a guy that would add to SmackDown, and I don't think he's necessarily needed on Raw with the style of wrestling I said earlier. This guy will be, one of the big heavy hitters, star power. I think that they can make quick impacts as well with Braun Strowman. And as well, expected match with Tyson Fury. They've started that off. Why not? They'll put that on Fox. It began on Fox. It did continue on Raw. I expect it to conclude the rest of it on Fox on SmackDown. So for me, Braun Strowman will move to SmackDown Live. Going to some of the women competitors, early doors here at the moment, I thought that for Charlotte Flair, top picks here to go along with her. Alexa Bliss, I think, will be back on the blue brand of SmackDown Live. I did wonder if that with her losing the Women's Tag Team Championships that she would be split up with Nikki Cross, but I don't expect that to happen. I think they have a story going here, a long story, and I think it's going to culminate in a match somewhere down the line. So I think that they'll always remain together, and I do believe that they will both be on the blue brand. I think Nikki Cross as well has never really fought Charlotte Flair. Alexa Bliss has once on pay-per-view, so it does give Charlotte a couple of fresh opponents. Going back then into more superstars, we've got Baron Corbin, King Corbin. I think that that gimmick would be fun for Fox. I think that as well, he was taken Mick out of by The Rock last week. I think that he would be quite well suited as a draft pick, if you want, for SmackDown Live. The Intercontinental Championship will stay home for me. Shinsuke Nakamura will remain on Friday nights. He just seems to be well suited for SmackDown for me, so I think he would be staying put. And of course, that means Sami Zayn will be his right-hand man and will be joining him. Well, speaking of new best friends, how about an old best friend, Kevin Owens? I think he will stay on SmackDown Live as well. Don't expect him to move anywhere. We mentioned Brock Lesnar earlier in the show, potentially as well having a match with Cain Velasquez. Well, let's then trade over Rey Mysterio into SmackDown. Of course, one of the legends, if you want, still wrestling in WWE. I think that he would be quite suited for the blue brand. Speaking of high flyers, Ricochet, I think, will be a part of the blue brand going forward. His 6'30", his high flying ability, his superhero-like action will be great for the SmackDown mid-card, and I think is another impressive aspect to have for the Fox network. Speaking of mid-card, or someone that should be going towards the main event, we have Samoa Joe. I think he'll be part of SmackDown. As well, Cesaro. Cesaro just has been jobbing a lot on Raw. I'd like to see him go back to SmackDown Live. Another person that seems to be lost on Raw, although the last couple of weeks Miz TV has served the purpose, I still think Miz does his best work on the blue brand. I would personally move him back to SmackDown Live. We'll go to the Tag Team Champions, the Revival, SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They will be on the blue brand full time. Of course, that's it. Top guys will be there. And ironically, I've put the Raw Tag Team Champions there as well. That will be explained a little bit later. But I think Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler will be teaming on the blue brand. Potentially a strong team here as well, but they may go their separate ways. Rowan and Harper for me. That's it. Eric Rowan and Luke Harper will be on SmackDown still. We've got some face teams in there, so let's start with Gran Metalik, Kalisto, and of course Lindsay Dorado of the Lucha House Party. We'll have to have a jobber team there as well, because there are a couple of jobber teams in WWE. Hawkins and Ryder, for me to go back where they started. They'll be good for a couple of squash matches here and there. But to give ourselves some much needed strength in the faces of those men's tag team division, I think it's time the Usos return to television, and I think that they will be on SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown is the place for them. But of course, then we'll go into the women's division. Of course, if you've got the Usos, I'm not breaking the couples up. We will have Naomi to kick things off here for Friday Night SmackDown. We'll have Sonya Deville as well as Mandy Rose. Now, I've gone for Sonya Deville purely because of the fact that I think for the UFC kind of mixed martial arts background will be good for there, as they don't have Ronda Rousey right now. And I think Mandy Rose, of course, she's with Sonya Deville, so I think that will remain the same. I think the lady, Lacey Evans, will be on SmackDown. She's done almost all there is to do on Raw within 6 months, so I think it would be good for her to have a change of scenery. Maybe a feud as well with Charlotte Flair could be in early doors. Carmella, I expect to be, she's at Miss SmackDown. She's never moved from SmackDown since the start of the last draft. Corey Graves now on commentary. I think that she will be remaining on SmackDown. Peyton Royce, I think, as well as Billy Kay. Of course, there we've got the Iconics. They've also stayed with SmackDown and will remain to do so. Back to some singles stars in the men's division. Apollo Crews, I think, will be remaining on SmackDown. Chad Gable, Shorty G, may continue his feud with King Corbin. That will happen on SmackDown for me. And as well as that, of course, maybe we can see a returning tag team with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin maybe at some stage. Shelton Benjamin, for me, will stay on SmackDown. And, if this guy's ever going to go back to TV, I think he'll be more suited for SmackDown. Mojo Rawley, of course, if we ever can get the Gronk back on WWE TV, that definitely would help for the former NFL star. And I think that that's probably why he would be more Fox-related. And of course we have Jinder Mahal as well. Done his best work on SmackDown, so I believe Jinder Mahal would be a good shout for the SmackDown brand. Perhaps maybe he can move himself back into the mid-card. Now, I have said to myself that there will be one NXT call-up. I don't think there's going to be loads of NXT call-ups here, but I reckon there will be one for each show. So I have gone for a big shock. I've gone for the Velveteen Dream to be called up to the main roster. My reasoning for it is that I believe that the Velveteen Dream has done almost there is to do in NXT, and I think that now would be a good time if Velveteen Dream isn't going to go and try and push himself for the NXT Championship in the main event scene. Why not become a part of the mid-card in WWE? There's a lot of room for him, and I think that his showmanship and star power actually would do well thriving on the SmackDown side of things. I think that that would be a good place for the Velveteen Dream. So that's all my picks for SmackDown. Let's go to Raw. And of course, I said the number one draft pick for me would be the man, Becky Lynch. She's done it all recently, and I think it would be great as well to see, the man as the main draft pick for Raw. I think that it was important for them that they don't lose her as well. I think that she has got a lot to give right now on Raw, and I think there's a lot of suitable opponents that could be given to Becky under the right circumstances. We have the Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. He is the champion for Raw. I don't expect that those major championships will switch shows. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, of course, I expect to remain on Raw. There was rumours wanted for Fox on SmackDown. I personally believe that Raw will remain the home of Bray Wyatt. We'll go for some special draft picks then. I think Daniel Bryan will be moving over to Raw. Recently seen turning face, and I think that Raw would be a good destination for Daniel Bryan to continue that. And there's a lot of fresh matches for Daniel Bryan on the red brand. We've got Kofi Kingston to come on over to the Raw brand, because of course after those 8 seconds on SmackDown, that's it. Kofi's done all Kofi can do. I think that there is some fresh opponents for Kofi on Raw, and of course if he brings over Xavier Woods and perhaps as well Big E of the New Day, we can have the whole New Day stable on Raw, and they would be fresh to go immediately into what I think would be a great first feud with AJ Styles. That's right, the OC, the United States champion there, along with Gallows, and as well with Carl Anderson. I think that would be a good way to kick things off. That would be an interesting feud. We could have stables on Raw against each other, and that would make that show stand out a little bit more. It'd be great to have the stables brought back. I think that would be a really nice little thing that they could add in there. One superstar who's reports have been out for a little while, who I think could be due a return, and best suited for Raw for me would be Drew McIntyre. I think Drew would be good for Raw. We also could have Aleister Black, could be on Raw as well. Of course, Aleister Black was on Raw this week and is rumoured to be someone that Paul Heyman really wants to work with, and I think that would be really cool. I mean, of course, Paul Heyman was great with The Fiend as well. Who knows, maybe one of those could be knocking on each other's door somewhere down the line. I think that Randy Orton could be moving over to Raw. Of course, Randy Orton, great sports entertainment. You're building from the ground up, as JBL used to say. I think that it's time for him to move to Raw. I could see Randy on both shows. This was probably one of the most difficult choices to make, but I think Randy would be good and suited for Raw. I mean, there's some matches there that we've not seen with Orton for a long time there. Seth Rollins, we could see maybe Aleister Black. That match was never made there. Daniel Bryan as a face could be interesting. Drew McIntyre, maybe he become a face, and maybe he could even take on The Fiend. Who knows? I'm going to go for the women's division now, and of course we've got the women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Feels Asuka is going to be the next challenger for the Raw Women's Championship, so I have them for Raw. I have Sasha Banks to remain on Raw as well, purely because of the fact that I don't think she is finished with Becky Lynch at this particular moment. And of course, she's going to need a partner in crime as well. I think Bayley will be moving back to Raw. But it seems then a lot of heels, Becky would need some backup. Let's bring Ember Moon back. She was lost on SmackDown. It's just not worked out for her on that blue brand. Bring her back to the red brand. I think that she is actually better suited for Raw at this stage in her career. I think Natalya should stay put as well. I think that she's been doing some good stuff on Raw. I would like to see Natalya remain on Raw. And we'll have Sarah Logan remain on Raw. And we'll have a returning Liv Morgan. That's right. Let's reunite the Riot Squad. And maybe Ruby Riot can rejoin them as well when she comes back from injury. Which, of course, helps the tag team division of, the Raw side as well for the women. We would have the likes there of Dana Brooke there for you on Raw as well. And let's go to those Raw tag teams. Let's have Akam and we'll have Razor, the Authors of Pain. I've loved the video packages they've done. I think they're definitely Paul Heyman's work. I would like them to stay on the Raw brand. And what about a tasty feud they could have with Eric and Ivar? That's right, the Viking Raiders. And I said I put Rude and Rudolph on SmackDown because I believe these guys are going to become the Raw Tag Team Champions this week on Raw. And that would be a clever way then on the second show to move over. Or we could move them over on SmackDown, have 2 sets of Tag Team Champions, and of course then Raw get their belts back on Monday. To complete then that tag team division, we could have Otis, and we could also have Tucker, Heavy Machinery, great for entertainment value, and I think would be quite well suited for Raw. And we can go into the single stars, but one I think that could become a team maybe over time, we could have Ali come over to Raw. I think he'll be quite well suited with the talent roster over on Raw right now. And Cedric Alexander, of course, they were the heart and soul of 205 Live at one point. I wouldn't be surprised to see them become a team at some stage. Into the storylines we've got now on Raw, Bobby Lashley has been quite prominent since his return. He's had a storyline going with Lana and as well also with Rusev. I think all of those guys have started this program on Raw and will continue on Raw, so I expect that to be the case for you there. I think Elias is going to come back to Raw, another person it's not really worked out for on SmackDown. Of course, if we're going to walk with Elias, we can do that every week on Monday Night Raw. I think we can get back to some good guitar segments in the middle of the ring as well. Good to break up a long show. Maybe our best kept secret will not be such a kept secret anymore because he will have a chance to have more TV time on Raw. Buddy Murphy is another one I pick to make a trade. I think he'll be coming to Monday Night Raw. And perhaps sad to some, yes, when Carmella was on SmackDown, I didn't mention R-Truth. I think R-Truth and the 24/7 Championship is coming to Raw. Whether the belt will be exclusive or not, I'm not so sure still, but I think that R-Truth will be on Raw because you've got more time to play with more championships. I think Drake Maverick will be a part of the Raw roster, potentially to go back with AOP. I personally would like to see him team up with EC3, who I think will be on Raw as well, maybe in a lower part of the card, but maybe it just might give those guys some TV time. Maybe it could work for them as a duo. We'll have to wait and see. Mike Kanellis, I think, will remain on Raw as well, of course, with this storyline going with him and Maria. I think that he's okay for Raw for me. In the small doses, I think that storyline kind of works. I think Heath Slater as well. I mean, come on, he's got kids. I've got to mention this here. But I think as well, I've mentioned here that Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel of the B Team should come over to Raw. I would reunite all three, make the Social Outcasts come back. I think that would be a good way to do things. And of course, I said NXT picks as well. Well, I tell you what, they've been backstage for a long time. We'll have Montez Ford and with Angelo Dawkins. The Street Profits will officially be a part of Monday Night Raw. So we'll have to wait and see. That is my predictions for you there then on the SmackDown and Raw rosters. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below if you think that that is a realistic way of the rosters looking at the end. If that's a rosters you'd like to see, and also who you'd put where yourself, and if you do like the look of these rosters, which roster you think is stronger. I would be interested to know your thoughts there. Just to finish up the SmackDown preview, I'm expecting 2 matches to be made for Crown Jewel. I expect the WWE Championship, Brock Lesnar against Cain Velasquez to be announced for Crown Jewel, which will be really interesting to see because, I mean, for me, I'm not sold at the moment with Cain Velasquez when I've seen him in ring. I have watched him in AAA at Triple Mania this year and I wasn't overly sold, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe the match will be better than expected, but I think that this does draw some casual viewers here, and of course for Crown Jewel, the bar isn't set so high for those matches, so perhaps it's okay to have this match on that show. Same with Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman. That feels like that's actually going to be made. I do feel sorry for Braun Strowman at this moment. He really is becoming the Big Show 2.0, but we'll have to wait and see as and what happens. But I think that's what's likely for SmackDown Live, the draft and those matches to be made for Crown Jewel. I think it's going to be a very exciting show on SmackDown this week. I think Raw will continue with an exciting show. Like I said, the Tag Team Championships are on the line next week. So yeah, that and as well with the draft, I think is a lot to look forward to. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel. We've just hit over 350 subscribers. The road starts to 400. And thank you so much to everyone who has been supporting the channel and subscribing. Don't forget, Ask SCW will be back this weekend. You can get your question in the comments section right now with hashtag AskSCW. And I will see you guys next time here on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and yeah, have yourselves a great afternoon.